Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'll be reviewing probably one of my favorite WDCC signature sets that they've ever made. And believe it or not, this set probably took me almost 3 years to acquire all the different pieces because unfortunately by the time um, I was looking to purchase this set, most of the pieces are sold separately instead of the original set that they were supposed to be. And since Beauty and the Beast is probably my top favorite Disney movie of all time, this set is pretty much a must, even though some of the pieces in this signature collection is very, very rare and very expensive and very hard to get. I just have to be really, really patient. And finally, I was able to acquire the last piece of the set, which I'm sure some of you could guess which one that is, and I will tell you that in a moment. So as you can see, I'm actually reviewing the set from my desk. I just kind of placed this on my desk. It's just too big for me to move around, and I really don't want to risk breaking any of the pieces. So, any chance that I don't have to move this entire thing, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. So first of all, I guess, yeah, I guess I can start on this first piece already. So this first piece right here is probably the most impressive, like gravity defying porcelain pieces ever WDCC ever made, because as you can see, this whole piece is only supported by the princess legs right there, and it is made out of I believe some kind of metallic material instead of the usual porcelain material that WDCC usually utilize, and it just supports the entire statue perfectly and beautifully. I'm just gonna move this a little bit over here so we can see it better. And as you can see, Belle's movement of the cape is beautifully done. It really feels like you're just seeing this character leap off of the screen. And of course, this is the precise moment when Prince Adam lifted Belle into the air, and then they transition into this scene in the ballroom later on. But yeah, so this piece is probably the most difficult to acquire because because of course they're the main character, and of course the design of the piece, just how impressive it is, just adds to the desirability of the sculpture in general. But I was finally able to acquire it recently at a pretty, reasonable pricing, and which is why after 3 years since acquiring the first piece from this set, which is, I believe, was Mrs. Potts and Lumiere and Cogsworth right there, now I can finally review it when everything is completed. All right, so now that we have a closer view at Belle right there, and of course you have the prince, and I think the sculpture on both of their faces is just incredible. It's not 100% likeness, but it really captures the essence of the characters from the film. So I'm just gonna put that aside. So next we have Mrs. Potts right here. It's such a lovely and cute piece. You have of course the human version of Mrs. Potts, Chip, and the dog, who is called Sultan. And one of the things that really impresses me about WDCC is their willingness to create pretty much rare version of characters that we've loved over the years in beloved Disney movies, such as this one. If you were to go to like a Disney store website today to try to find the human version of these characters, you will not find it, because of course they're not as popular as they when they were, you know, enchanted objects, because they were only in the movie for probably about 2 minutes. And so I'm really impressed. The WDCC was really going the extra mile to portray these characters as they appeared in the movie, so that it'll serve the overall storytelling of this sculpture. So we're just gonna get a close-up view on Mrs. Potts, and you can see somehow the design for Mrs. Potts as a teapot sort of like translates over into her human version. As you can see in her bonnet right there, it kind of resembles the lid of the teapot, and of course the face of the shape in general, and even her hair. As you can see, the shape of her bun right there and the hair kind of resembles the handle on the teapot. So that's very cool right there. And of course we have Chip right here, who has the even has a little gap on his tooth, and that's very cute right there. And of course we have the dog, who doesn't of course resemble the footstool that he was when he was an enchanted object, but nevertheless it's a faithful recreation from the characters from the movie overall. Alright, so I'm just gonna put that back there. So next we have a piece that is actually not a part of the signature collection set, but I believe this piece was released separately, but it fits perfectly with this entire scene that I just kind of decided to displayed with the rest of the sculptures. Plus there are some space on this base right here. So as I mentioned before, this piece is meant to represent the scene after Belle was lifted into the air by the prince, and we have here both of them in their formal attire. Now, unfortunately, in my opinion, for this piece, the prince was not depicted as well as he was in the other piece. There's something about the eyes. It's, you know, it's not as well thought out. There's something about the eyes. It's not as good. But I think when it comes to Belle, I think she's depicted pretty well. She's just as beautiful as she was in the other version, and I just love the kinetic energy of the gown, and how it kind of swirls a little bit, because of course it takes place after this scene, and how her hair is sort of like lifted in the air. And you can kind of see it from here, you know, the way the dress is sort of like swirling from that side. And it really is a beautiful piece. So I'm just gonna put that aside. Just gonna put here. Right there. And of course, next we have the duo, the famous duo from the film. We have Lumiere and we have Cogsworth right there. And in my opinion, this piece is just as impressive, especially Cogsworth, because as you can see, he has a very plump upper body. And for his legs, they're very, very small and very thin. So the fact that it was able to you know, support this entire figure alone, it's quite impressive. And he and Lumiere are actually not connected at all. Some people would assume that they're both connected in some reason, but they're two individual sculptures who are connected via their feet only. So yeah, that makes it even more impressive. So let's start with Lumiere right here. And of course, we can see Lumiere pretty much has the same face design as he does as a candelabra. You can see how his hair sort of like meant to resemble the slightly melted part of his candle version. And of course the nose and the mouth and everything is exactly the same face shape. And even his costumes, they resemble the motifs and patterns when he was a candle. Now moving on to Cogsworth, he also has a similar face shape, you know, this similar plump shape that he has. And of course his mustache when he was a clock became a sort of like the hand of time. And his hair or wig sort of is also incorporated in the when he was a mantle clock. And even his collar right here, his swirled collar, I believe that was part of his the design from when he was a mantle clock as well. And of course, as a finishing touch, he's carrying a pocket watch right there. So those are very good sculptures right there. And finally, we have, I believe her name is either Fifi or Plumette, I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna call her Plumette. And yeah, so with Plumette, there isn't much about her that resembles her feather duster form, aside from the fact that she's very, very sexy, really. She's pretty much the stereotypical French women. Yeah, she's kind of depicted as this very, very sexual romantic interest from Lumiere. And of course she's handling the little feather duster right there to complete her character. And all of these poses, by the way, are exactly as how they appear in the movie. Like if you pause the movie, you can see each of these poses exactly as they are depicted in this scene right here. And also for her, what's impressive is that she's only standing on one leg. So yeah, that's a pretty cool feature for WDCC. You know, they never compromise on authenticity, so they make sure that whatever hurdles they're gonna face, they will make sure that it'll, you know, become a reality. These days, if you create these figurines, Cogsworth and Lumiere probably have thicker legs, or they'll probably be joined together, or they probably have some kind of objects behind their legs to kind of support the entire figure. And as for Fifi, her skirt is probably going to be floor length to cover up the feet, so that it supports the entire figurine better. But of course, WDCC is another level. And last but not least, we're just gonna quickly review the base right here. So I purchased the base actually, again, separately from each of these figurines because they're just so hard to get. You just have to purchase one as you go along. So the base is meant to represent the balcony when the prince, the beast first transformed into the prince, and also the section of the ballroom. And what I love about WDCC, of course, is that they always match the character's base with whatever setting that they're meant to take place. So of course with these two, they're meant to take place outside, and these, they have that sort of like a marbling effect on the base right there. They even have the floor tiling. And so these bays come apart in 3 different pieces. I believe this whole balcony section is one piece. This is one piece, and the pillars right here with the little cherubs at the top is one piece. As you can see, it's very detailed. There's there's a little gargoyle featured right there, and there's some flower vines, just like in the movie. And you have these various hand painted, like marble effects on the pillars with gold ribbon accents, and at the top, of course, you have these cute little cherubs to sort of finish the look. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my review of this WDCC signature collection. Oh yeah, and I believe I didn't tell you the name of this piece. It's called The Curse is Broken. And thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.